I was going to do some studio technical videos this week, but I changed my mind because I had a bunch of phone conversations the last couple weeks from people calling me up for advice. And a big part of my advice to people is always how this is a numbers game and you just got to do a lot of work and just be consistent and stick with it. Like, don't give up. But through these conversations, I found out what these people were really struggling with was their ability to just keep going, getting depressed, feeling like they hadn't accomplished enough or that they're spinning their wheels. And I realized what they're really talking about is expectations, because it doesn't really matter how much talent or skills you have if your head is not in the right place. Now, this is not going to be easy to explain because I've never thought about it this way before, and I'm trying to remember what I said in these conversations just off the top of my head. So bear with me. I hope that I can explain to you what I mean when I say expectations. The thing I ask artists that I work with is, why are you doing this? Fame? Money? A desire to be a musician, a singer, an actor, or a writer? Are you only going to do this thing if you get enough likes from people and approval and some sort of predefined minimum amount of money in your bank account? If this is truly what you love and want to do with your life, then why would not having enough YouTube views, followers, or acceptance from the industry cause you to quit? To decide whether or not you're going to do this thing that you love based on other people's opinion or what's currently popular seems kind of crazy. As someone once said,
just do it!
Just do it!
Just do it!
You are not responsible for the world. You're only responsible for your work, so just do it!
Of course, doing that is easier said than done. Changing your life or starting a new career can be painful. And what makes that really hard nowadays is that we live in a society that's constantly ramming down our throats that we need to be happy all the time and living the greatest life ever. I've been depressed most of my life with very little expectation of having a lot of happiness. I guess maybe that helped me get through some of this stuff because I wasn't expecting to be happy. I've been focused on doing certain things. And I usually feel fulfilled because I'm either accomplishing those things or at the very least, I'm giving it my best shot. Now, if you can have more realistic emotional expectations, this is going to be a lot easier. The cold, hard truth is, and you may not want to hear this, but whatever you immerse yourself in, that's what your life is going to become. Whatever it is that you're doing, that's what you are. Look, man, you got to flip your perspective. Quit looking for the generic rewards and standard definition of success as a measurement of the outcome of your projects or endeavors. Instead, look for the unexpected and unplanned gains and opportunities that come from each endeavor. Let me explain what I'm talking about. Back in the 80s and the early 90s, I had my bands and we were going out and gigging. And back then I had this expectation that we'd get discovered or that we were so good that we would just build this massive fan base. Now, neither of these things happened, but what I did learn was that I needed to write better songs and be a better performer. I learned how to manage people and kind of organize these things, get them done. I also got my name out there. I met a lot of people for the first time that years later I'd still be working with. Now, back then, I didn't realize this. I just knew that I wanted to be a musician and a performing player, so that's what I did. We got enough interest that we went to New York a couple times for meetings. And me being young and dumb, I expected we were going to get a record contract or something because, why else would we be going to a meeting, right? But no, it didn't happen. And I got to tell you, I cried going home, driving home from those meetings. I was devastated. But over time, what I realized that what was really important was the experience. I learned what these people's jobs were like, how they thought, how they talk. I also learned how not to talk to an A&R guy. And also I met some people that years later as a producer, when I went back to New York on behalf of my artists, I had already met these people. So there was this familiarity and they saw me as a veteran. So I think it helped in the long run. As a producer, I've seen so many people come through here and work on a song or an album. And then when it doesn't become successful, they quit. They get discouraged because they have this expectation that they're going to do a handful of songs and become famous. And, you know, it just doesn't normally work that way. They're looking at it the wrong way. You got to think about, in the process of making the record, all the people that you're going to meet, the skills that you're going to develop, also that you're adding more to your catalog. Like every song that you write and record is like money in the bank. Just because it's not a big hit doesn't mean it's not going to get licensed for a movie. I've had songs that didn't make it on the album, and years later somehow it got into somebody's hands, it got licensed for a movie, and I made some money off of that. So you guys got to look at it the right way. I'll use an example of somebody I'm working with right now who I've done a lot of songs with, and I don't think it would ever occur to him to think that, oh, you know, I'm failing, I'm having to go do more songs. No, he's just building it all up. And what I'm finding, which is beautiful, is that he's finding his voice. He's learning how to write and sing songs from his heart, as opposed to thinking about writing and singing songs that'll be popular. And ultimately, that's the thing. Well, that'll actually give him a hit by trying to not have a hit, by writing something real and beautiful and honest. He'll probably have a hit. So the most important thing that comes from all these things that you're doing isn't actually the thing that you think you're trying to accomplish. It's actually in the experience, the relationships that you build, and also your name recognition. But above all that is doing the things that you want to do and living the life that you want to live every single day. Life is now. And it's very important that you realize this, because odds are your album, your video, your book, your song, your movie is gonna fail. And most of what I've attempted has failed. When your success finally comes, it's not gonna come from a place that you expect. Trust me, it's probably gonna be a surprise. And in the meantime, you'll be living the life you love. Well, I hope all of that made some sort of sense. If you have any questions or comments on the subject, leave them in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe. Also, check out my Instagram channel. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching.